Hello, everyone, and I'm Christina Giordano, the founder of Sold, your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, they must be sold to. That's SOUL''D. And this is selling with soul. This is marketing with an integrity where you no longer need to compromise your authenticity, your boundaries, your uniqueness, your wholeness. This is messaging in a way that actually reflects the transformation you provide because it's your story, your transformation, and nobody can compete with that. This is monetizing yourself in a way that honors your fullness, all of the pieces and parts of you that are meant to be divinely resourced. So join me every Wednesday to learn all about this and more. Let's jump right in. Lately, I've been thinking about the question, what am I devoted to? And it comes at a time when I'm allowing myself to open up to even deeper levels of peace and pleasure and ease. And, I don't really talk about this a lot on social media or in my newsletter or anywhere like that. But I do feel called to help people, specifically business owners, soulful business owners, make money. And I feel strange saying that, but make money in a way that feels like they're divinely resourced. And the whole monetization thing has really been a recent add-on to my service offerings. I'm not actively currently offering a service that speaks to monetization, but because of my own journey with making money, having money, holding money, receiving money, giving money, providing, stewarding, being responsible for money, because of that journey, I feel called to share it in a way that empowers others to make money in a way that feels good. So, I talk about marketing and how the new paradigm of marketing is essentially a way to market yourself in a way that feels good to you. It feels aligned, it feels empowering, it feels like you're not selling. It's selling with soul. And this is kind of a branch off of that where yes, you're selling with soul, but you're making money in a way that feels good too. Like you've completely cleared and released all of the things about money that kind of keep us small or held back or tight or contorted or contracted with money. And now you're kind of expanding in ways that aren't entirely popular right now or even being really talked about right now. You're kind of relying on your soul to put you in the places and environments and with the right people who will pay you in a way that makes you feel like you're worth it. And so, again, I haven't really talked about this in too much detail and too much depth. And I don't really want to now because I need to work on it a little bit. I need to sit on it a little bit. I'm gathering data currently for this. So it's going to be something where, there's so many coaches and people out there who teach manifestation. It's not going to be like that. Like, I think manifestation is a very efforting thing to do. And so I want to make this a little more effortless where it feels effortless, although you're coming from a place of a higher power. And so, as I said, I'm gathering data on it, and I'll definitely go into more detail about this, as I evolve and grow, but also hopefully starting with this podcast in the next couple of months or so. So back to what I'm talking about. I've been thinking about the question of what am I devoted to? Like, what am I devoted to? What am I truly devoted to right now? And as a woman who descends from a lineage of male entrepreneurs, doing things a little differently in business feels exciting, but also wildly terrifying because sometimes I do want to do what has worked for those who came before me, even if it costs me my health, my well being, my sanity, and happiness. There's a safety in following the paths that went before you. There's if you actually quite literally think of walking a path, walking a trail, like let's say you're in the woods or something, you're walking a trail and you could see the footsteps and the kind of paved way before you of people who have come before you and who know the way and it has worked for them. But there's something about that way that just doesn't feel right anymore. And there's something about that way that doesn't feel like you anymore. And that's what a big part of my own entrepreneurial journey is really kind of relying and trusting my own inner compass. And even though I'm walking down kind of a path that's not really clean or, you know, it's it hasn't been walked before. And that itself is scary. But the people who have walked before me have figured out a way and it worked. And it involved a lot of control and pressure and stress, but it worked. And this is like just along with the lines of manifestation, people have manifested in a certain way and it worked. And they're trying to teach that way. And there's just something about it that doesn't fit anymore. And so speaking of that path, because of my calling, which is sold, SOULD, that path is simply no longer available to me. So, as much as I want to walk down the path of people who have gone before me, and believe me, I've tried, it just doesn't, it won't let me go any further. And so, in discovering what I'm devoted to, I get to allow my desires to guide me in how I move in every area of my life. So, if you think about that inner compass, my desires and what I'm devoted to, which is essentially based on my values and my vision, they direct me on my course. And so after thinking about it, I realized I'm devoted to my well-being, my body and my spirit. I'm devoted to my family. I'm devoted to my movement, which is sold. So serving other business owners by helping them market themselves with integrity, message themselves in a way that reflects their true essence, and again, monetize themselves in a way that allows them to feel divinely resourced. And these are essentially the things that get me out of bed every day. And the habits and routines that I've created for myself are in a coordination with these devotions. They serve my devotions. And this is what moves me now. So let's take it a step further with the L.I.F.E method. So if you haven't checked out the L.I.F.E method yet, it is available on my website, ChristinaGiordano.com, under the Get Guidance page. It's called The Mini, and it is a free 10-minute audio recording that spells out the L.I.F.E method for you. Now, typically the L.I.F.E method is used for the purposes of marketing yourself. So you're deciding how people want to live and be and feel and express themselves based on what your work does for them. So you're essentially aligning them to your work. And the magic of the L.I.F.E method is that it could really be used for any goal that you have in mind. So when I think about what I'm devoted to and creating those routines and habits and practices that I want to do on a daily basis, day in and day out, I'm really thinking about my desired lifestyle, my desired identity, my desired feelings, and my desired expression, L-I-F-E. And these are all rooted within me because I'm deciding what I'm devoting to. I'm deciding what I have been devoted to. And so my routine right now serves my devotions. I get to devote myself to my body and my mind and my spirit by the breath work practices that I do, which is part of my morning routine. The movement and the stretching that I incorporate into that routine, going to the gym on a daily basis. It's not always the same thing that I'm doing at the gym on a daily basis, but it's allowing me to tap into my body, decide what it needs, what it wants, what it's capable of that day, and then going from there. Then when it comes to my family, a big part of my daily life is ensuring that I'm not working all of the time. Yes, I set my kids up at camp and daycare and activities that don't necessarily need me there because I want them to enjoy themselves as much as they would like. I mean, they're very active boys. I have two boys who are 5 and 2 years old at the time of this recording, and they got a lot of energy. And so me putting them in these places that are really going to foster their own development, their own creativity, their own sense of adventure and socializing, like they get to be around their friends, they get to play, they get to do new things. So I've set them up for that, but also so that I can have the space and the time and the freedom to do what I need to do with my work, with my personal life, and with my home. So that's kind of how what I'm devoted to gets spread out throughout my family. That's how I take care of my family. I take care of my boys in that way. And they are happy and with having fun like that. And then of course my husband too, he has his own business too. He's a personal trainer, and we've set it up so that he also has the freedom and flexibility to work when he wants to work, come home middle of the day where we can connect and speak and be together during the middle of the day when he can come home for lunch and stuff like that. So there are ways that I serve my family through allowing them to be free as well. Isn't that nice? I just kind of made that connection. Um, and so the other thing that I'm devoted to is my movement. And I notice I'm not calling it a business. That's going to be a podcast for another time. I'm kind of over the word business. My movement, which is sold, and I'm devoted to that by essentially how I set up my outreach strategy for it. So I'm very into cycle syncing. If you follow me, you know this. And so once a month, I focus on ideating and creating content and planning ahead. So that would happen during the follicular phase. And then during the ovulatory phase, which is right now, I do face to camera stuff. I publish and distribute all of my content. It is essentially a big filming and audio recording time for me. And then during the luteal phase, I am really kind of just putting all the pieces together, very detail oriented, checking all the boxes off of, the cover images and the social media posts and the little things that kind of might get missed in one of my other phases of my cycle. And so again, I get to be very detail oriented. I get to do more of the mundane kind of work during that phase. And then during my menstrual phase, I pretty much just rest. I don't do much. So I've set myself up to devote myself to my work in a way that works for me, in a way that still makes me feel like I am following my own desires, which are essentially based on my values of freedom and fulfillment and time and peace and pleasure and joy and all of the things that I desire. So I want you to think about this. What are you devoted to? What are you here for? Okay, really think about that. Like, what is moving you? What is moving you to act? These are your internal innate compass points that you need to start focusing on so that you're moving in not only the right direction, but in the direction that's going to get you there in the way that you're meant to be there. And I think that you get to a point on this journey of self-discovery where you become so self-contained, so trusting of yourself that you're finally ready to, again, move in that direction, but from a higher perspective with both clarity and focus. So again, where are you going? Because the way there is through you. Now, you can, again, find the mini, which features the L.I.F.E method on my website on the Get Guidance page of ChristinaGiordano.com. And just a little quick note about the L.I.F.E method. It's quite literally a roadmap back to your soul. I really want you to look at it like that. So discovering your way to wherever you want to go is the only way that it's actually going to happen. You're going to get there by doing it your way. And I don't know about you, but I see a massive wave of people totally over following someone else's lead on how to build a business or structure their days or even just their lives. And we've come to a point where we are no longer willing to compromise our boundaries, our energy, our wholeness for a quick fix, for a quick path, for a roadmap, for somebody else's way of doing things. We've come to a point where we accept and acknowledge that another coach's sparkly path of business growth may have worked for them, but it's just not for us. And we've come to a point where we desire to follow our rules, our rhythm, our innate knowing and pace and will, because that's what's going to get us there. So if there's one thing I leave you with in this podcast, it's do it your way. Do it your way so that it can get done. Do it your way so that you can be in an integrity. Do it your way so that you can trust, enjoy, and relish in the process of your own becoming, because that's what it's all about. I hope this podcast served you today. It was wonderful serving you on this beautiful day. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Be well and take care.